Hello, everyone. It's Mary Lynn Harris of Hard at Work, and I am so glad that you're here with us today. Um, I have as my guest is Emmalou Penrod, and we met briefly at the Women's International Network. Hello, everyone. It's Mary Lynn Harris of Hard at Work, and I am so glad that you're here with us today. I have as my guest. Okay. There we go. Sorry. So anyway, I'm so glad to have Emmalou today with me. And Emmalou, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, Marilyn, thank you. I'm a, I'm a retired school teacher. I'm a wife, a mother, a grandmother. And after I retired, I started a business, Healing Your Families. Well, while I was still teaching school, I started a podcast in support of families because I just felt a very strong desire to support families. They're the foundation of our society, and they're really under a lot of pressure and stress right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've heard that families are under the most stress, as well as the boomers, or the people that are, kind of a little bit older group that maybe have already raised their families and all their children are off doing their own thing and they're like feeling isolated. Yeah, I get that. Yeah. Well, welcome to the show. And can you tell us a little bit about some of the issues you face with families besides the pressure they're feeling right now in this year of 2021? So,
Yes.
what are some of the biggest things or things you
You
come?
know, well, what I encountered almost a year ago is parents who now have to work from home.
Mm-hmm.
And whereas before, their children were at school, so
Mm-hmm.
they could focus on work. Now, then at that time, their children were home. Well, in some places, the children are still home,
Right.
and school is online. So they
Right.
not only have to do their work from home, they have to be overseeing their children, answering any technical questions or any help that they need.
Right.
And I've also noticed that our society isn't always kind to parents. Sometimes we're rather critical.
Mm-hmm.
Parents, if your child misbehaves in public, you'll get disapproving glares from people. And, you know, they just get a lot of negative feedback. They get the message that it's not as worthwhile to be a parent
Mm-hmm.
as to have a rewarding career.
Mm-hmm.
And plus any, you know, issues, lack of confidence, low self-esteem the parent has is just compounded
Mm-hmm.
when they
Mm-hmm.
have that pressure of being a parent.
Yeah, it's a big responsibility, isn't it?
It is, and I think we're seeing things starting to open up, but it will take time, and there's the uncertainty.
Right.
I know for my grandchildren, they were able to go back to school,
Mm-hmm.
but at a moment's notice, if the school had so many cases, then they had to close the school down for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And so you just didn't know.
Right.
And whereas my grandson, who graduated from high school last year, lost out on the graduation ceremony.
Right.
They just had a drive by.
Yeah.
But my granddaughter, who is a senior this year, is missing out on the entire year. All of those dances, those activities. She can't even sit and eat lunch with her friends, and
Right.
visit.
Right.
So
Right.
that's a lot of stress on the children, which puts a lot of stress on the parents, the whole family.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you really have to have extra support around you. I would gather just to function on an every daily basis, kind of thing, with your families. The families that you work with, they must have to have some sort of other support other than just their individual family unit.
And traditionally, that was the extended family.
Right.
But, with jobs, we quite often move away
Right.
from our and they
Yeah.
may not have that support. They may, even if they're living nearby, they may not have that support for other reasons as well.
Right, right, right. And so what do you find that some of your obstacles your clients face that they're in this family unit? I know you've already expressed some of them, but what are some other ones that you kind of run into that you're able to help your clients with?
You know, it goes back to that adage. When you get on an airplane, they tell you you need to put your own oxygen mask on first before you can help anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And this is so hard for parents to remember because it's in their nature, you know, take care of the children first.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't take care of themselves. They let themselves become emotionally exhausted. Maybe they're struggling with their own self doubts,
Right.
maybe insecurities,
Mm.
um, experiences they had growing up
Right.
that still cause, you know, that lack of confidence.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I encourage them, you know, when you become a better person, you become a better parent.
Mm-hmm.
So I encourage them to start with themselves.
Mm-hmm.
One thing is your self talk. Have you ever paid attention to that little chit chat that goes on in your mind? Those
Yeah,
things you
monkey
say to yourself?
mind.
Yeah, yeah. And ask yourself, would you talk to anybody else like that?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
usually,
yeah, it's a very important point because I remember I always used to say my friends will start talking negatively about themselves, and I would say, "Hey, quit beating up on my friend," and they would like they turn around, and look around, and and I says, you know, you have to quit beating up on yourself because you're doing the best you can in this
yeah,
given moment, right?
yeah.
You can change it, but you know, right now you just got to love yourself more than anyone else, right?
And exactly. And you know, in anyone's typical day, they will probably make they might make like 3 mistakes.
Right.
And yet there were 20 things that went perfectly right. But we don't take time to say, got out of bed on time,
Yeah.
got dressed, looked good. You know, we don't celebrate our successes. We just berate ourselves when something doesn't go the way we
Right, right.
planned.
Yeah. And then we pass on the parade on to our other family members and our children and our husband or wife or whoever they may be. We end up doing that to them too because we're so unhappy. And
Yes, and I remember myself the times that I felt I did the best parenting. I was most effective as a mother were those times when I was calm.
mm-hmm,
I was more relaxed than stressed.
mm-hmm,
I felt good about myself and I was happy.
mm-hmm.
So we need, you know, I want to help people learn how to make that their way of being.
Right. The
So that
top.
more often than not,
Yeah.
they're feeling calm and happy and loving and energetic.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if we all are that way, then we have a happier world and a community as well, you know, and a
You
family
make
unit, you
you
know.
make better decisions when
Yeah.
you're calm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think of when I've done the most stupid things, it's because I was upset or
Right.
panicked.
Yeah.
And that's when you really do make
Screw up.
those decisions you regret.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a really important point to measure that, you know, the more whole we are ourselves, the more whole we can share it with others. You know, it's sort of like, you know, my take is on being more whole about yourself. So when you show up for work, your whole self is there, not bits and parts of you or
Yes.
negative or positive. So I would gather the same thing kind of works with you when you're working with your clients is helping them to be whole so that they can be the best parent they can be to their children or in their family, to their partners, that type of thing. So how,
Yes.
so how do you do that?
Well, before I answer that question, I just wanted to make the comment. I love your concept of kindness.
Mm-hmm.
Just And again, how do you feel when you are being kind? Well, you feel good.
Right.
You feel good about yourself. You feel good about other people.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that. Focus on kindness
Right.
at home and at work.
Right.
So to get to your question, I I offer a variety of services. I teach an online parenting class called Power Parents,
Mm-hmm.
starting with the idea that you begin with yourself. When you
Mm-hmm.
become a better person, you become a better parent. Talking about how to communicate effectively, using that kindness, establishing order,
Mm-hmm.
healthy boundaries.
Right.
Families flourish when there are healthy boundaries. There need to be adults in charge. We want it. We feel like, oh, I love my children. I want them to be happy. But when you put your children in
Yeah.
charge of the household, it doesn't go well.
No, no, it doesn't. Yeah, that's for sure.
And then I offer, individual um, coaching. I also teach hypnobirthing.
Mm-hmm.
Start the family out right, setting that calm, comfortable setting, learning how to lower your stress, how to manage your emotions, and how to communicate with your body. I really think when we have a strong mind-body connection,
Right.
we're healthier, it's easier, it lowers our stress,
Mm-hmm.
we can be kinder.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it's just it's amazing, but I think um when do we get the point that we are accountable for ourselves? And when do we get the point to say, if I'm kinder to myself, then everybody else is happier. You
Oh,
know,
I agree. I
it's sort of like
agree.
the energy. The energy is how we show up in our own energy, right? Is spread
Right.
everywhere.
And just like, you pointed out, when you are treating your coworkers with respect, with
Mhm.
kindness, giving them grace,
Yeah.
not well, and do that for yourself.
Yeah.
You do that for yourself,
Yeah.
and then you do this for family members, coworkers.
Mm-hmm.
Just think how our whole society, to me, it needs to start somewhere, Mary Lynn, and that's why I am so glad you're doing this.
Yeah.
So you get this started and it grows.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody goes to work, they have a great day because their coworkers are kind. They're going to go home and they're going to take it home with them. I love
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah. 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 We just got to keep talking to people and keep spreading the word that if you just simply do things. So what are some simple things that you do to help your clients? I know you do hypnotherapy as well, or hypnosis, I should.
Yes, yes. I
So
have found hypnosis to be a powerful tool.
mm-hmm.
And I know there are a lot of myths and misconceptions about hypnosis,
Yeah.
but it is a powerful tool you can use to take control of your own mind. I can't hypnotize anyone against their will. I can't
Yeah.
hypnotize them to do something that violates their moral code or anything like that.
Yeah.
But you can learn how to use, so I teach self-hypnosis.
Okay.
And it's similar to meditation, but it's just a way to calm your mind, bring forward the positive emotions that enable you to reach your desired outcomes,
Mm-hmm.
and manage. If you there really are no positive or negative emotions. Emotions are, and they can motivate us. For example, anger. We're afraid of anger. We feel like we should avoid it,
Yeah.
but anger motivates us to take action.
Mm-hmm.
Anger freed the slaves. It got women the vote.
Right.
So we use that emotion
Mm-hmm.
to take action, do what needs to be done,
Mm-hmm.
and then we learn to release it.
Right.
And sadness helps us understand ourselves better. I think of the times when I've made the most improvement in my life was after a period of sadness where I was really reflecting on what I didn't like, what I needed to change.
Mm-hmm.
So it's learning how to use those emotions, how to manage your mind, and then focus on what you want, focus on your desired outcome.
Mm-hmm. As you were talking, I was thinking having more compassion for yourself.
Yes.
In that sadness, right? We can be
Yes.
compassionate towards ourselves.
You can relate to someone else who
Yeah.
goes through something similar.
Right.
And isn't that necessary
Yeah.
in the workplace and in the home?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah,
compassion.
absolutely. Yeah, no, totally. We're all on the same page. So,
Yes.
can you give us a couple of stories of successful clients you've had, or stories about them that they you brought out the best in them?
Yes. I have two stories I'd like to share.
Mm-hmm.
One was a woman reached out to me who had had some negative experiences as a child
Mm-hmm.
that were associated with the holidays, with
Right.
Christmas, that time of year. And the result is here she is as an adult with a family, and she just about has, just has a terrible time when
Mm-hmm.
it approaches that time of year. She just can't function. She's crying, she's weeping.
Mm-hmm.
Her husband has been very patient, but he's saying, okay, I don't know how much longer I can deal with this. Can you do something about this? And one of the benefits of hypnosis is it is very effective in
Mm-hmm.
releasing childhood trauma.
Right.
Those things that happen to us when we were very young, write the programs in our minds that affect
Mm-hmm.
how we feel about ourselves, how we view the world around us.
Yeah.
And if those programs are faulty, well, just like if you had a computer program that wasn't working, you'd want to replace it with a more effective one.
Right. Right.
So she had great success, and she no longer has to dread the holidays. She's now able to just celebrate fully with her family.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And another was I worked with a woman who wanted to stop smoking. She knew it
Yeah.
was adversely affecting her health.
Mm-hmm.
She had been smoking for decades, started when she was a teenager, when it was the cool thing to do.
Yeah.
And she had tried, several different, patches, several different things. Nothing had permanent effect.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, it's that mental program that's running.
Mm-hmm.
When you're able to change that, and she picked a day, she said, this is the last day I smoked a cigarette, and stuck to it.
Yeah.
And she was just telling me how she knows that those years of smoking damaged her health,
Mm-hmm.
but she has a better chance now that
Right.
she has become a non-smoker.
Yeah. Eventually, over time, her lungs will become healthier, because they do heal themselves, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I always have this thing that if I injured myself or I'm going through something, I just ask my body to heal itself.
Mm-hmm.
And it usually does.
And I don't think most people understand how strong their mind is
Yeah.
and how you really can use your mind, all parts of your mind
Right.
you want. I love what you do. That's awesome.
Yeah. So do you have any couple of tips or something that you'd like to share before as we carry on here?
Yes, and hypnosis is one of many tools you can use. And the
Mm-hmm.
more tools you have in your toolbox, the more effective you'll be. But you may learn this in yoga, meditation,
Mm-hmm.
the value of deep breathing.
Right.
You're getting more oxygen in your body. Well, those deep breaths also act as a signal to your central nervous system that it's time to slow down, relax, slow the pulse rate, lower the blood pressure, relax the muscles. And so one of the techniques I teach in the hypnobirthing class is called calm breathing. And I had one of young mothers reported to me later that she used that when she was rear-ended.
Mm,
Started to go into that, that
yeah,
panic. And when she was able to just slow her breathing down, that helped her immensely.
yeah,
She could deal with the crisis.
right. Yeah. It's really important. I remember being taught actually your breathing processes where my friend said would breathe in, count to four, hold for four, release for
Hmm.
four. And she would just say that in itself brings in the consciousness of breath. And like
Yes.
saying, your client or your was able to release and get her calm because she just said, okay, I'm going to sit here and breathe for a minute and release that high anxiety or that anxiousness or that, kind of.
It's a simple thing, but it's a
Yeah.
powerful tool.
Yeah. And how often people just don't breathe because we're so shallow in breathing normally, right? We don't
Yeah.
stop to think, okay, take a deep breath in, and kind of calm our bodies, allow our bodies to calm down
Yeah.
so that we don't say things that we regret later.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So anything else you'd like to say, the final say you'd like to say to people? What do you really want people to know about you and maybe share a little bit how you're creating that impactful legacy?
You know, I think in this past year, we have heard a lot of negativity, a lot of fear.
Right,
And and that's fear is useful when you are in actual danger.
right,
If you are in a crisis situation and you need to act quickly, fear is helpful.
right.
But to remain in fear
Yeah,
damages the body, the mind.
yeah.
So that I would like to encourage people to rely on hope.
Mhm.
Faith is the opposite of fear.
Right.
So faith in yourself, faith in your higher power, whatever your belief system is,
Right.
turn to faith over
Hmm.
fear.
Yeah, yeah. Hope and faith and love.
Love. Oh, the most powerful force in the universe.
Right. Yeah,
Love.
absolutely. Yeah. I know. Just sitting in a you don't even have to meditate. You could just sit for a few minutes and reflect on what kind of day you want to create for yourself.
Yes.
Like you were saying, and just put out the word that I'm going to have faith today, or, because everything works out in however we want it to be. It always shows up, but we have to have that trust that it's going to be that way,
It's going to
right?
be okay.
It's all going to be okay. Yeah. So you gave some great techniques, Emmalou, about breathing and about how to calm ourselves. So, is there a time? How they can get a hold of you if they want to do one of your workshops, or if they want to work with you privately?
The best way is at my website, healingyourfamilies.com. And from there, parents can download a free ebook called Power Parents.
Mm-hmm.
They can sign up for my newsletter. They can schedule a 30-minute call.
Okay.
I
Okay.
like to take time to get to know
Mm-hmm.
people first. I want to make sure, we need to have a rapport. They
Right.
need to
Right.
feel comfortable with me. I need to understand them.
Yeah.
And I like to hear what their concerns are. I want to make sure I understand
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
then explain how I can help.
Right.
The different services are listed on my, Facebook
Right.
page. They can learn about me.
Mm-hmm.
I interviewed in the years I've had my podcast. I started it in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
I've had the opportunity to interview a lot of really amazing people, experts in their various areas
Mm-hmm.
with excellent, my whole purpose with the podcast was just to provide valuable information, accurate information for parents. And a lot of
Right.
it's just knowing what options are out there.
Right, right. Yeah, and how, yeah, really options and resources are so important for helping people understand where they can get the help they need.
Yes.
and then let them, make their way, to finding all that stuff. Great. So thank you for very much for enjoying me, Emmalou. I've enjoyed our conversation. I know we've had other ones, but we'll continue to have these conversations. And so thank you for joining me in my show today. And thank you, everybody, for listening in and subscribing to my channel. It's called Creating Impactful Legacy. It's just really about me talking to or helping other people share their message and how they also create a legacy. And so, obviously, Emily's legacy is helping families through their crisis moments. So, thank you. Thank you again.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So, everybody have a great day. And don't forget to be kind to each other because that's all we've got for each other is just each other and our health and well being. So,